Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's not. God is a great big
Welcome back. This is Mudflat with midweek manna from Mudflat. I'm not in the Philippines anymore, but I'm not right at Mudflat. You'll have to guess where I'm at here, but here's a midweek message for you. So we'll work with Psalm 100. And by the way, it's really good to be back. I missed 6 Sundays, and I was here last Sunday, and I'm back now, and it feels good. Some of the expats I met in the Philippines thought I was crazy, and I said, well, I'm still working. They said, you're doing what? I said, well, I'm having fun. You know, it's a good life. It's good people. And I trust God for my future, however long that'll be. So anyway, I need midweek manna, and I think we all do. So Psalm 100. So back, I see most of the fields have been harvested. At least in this area, I see a few a little bit north or towards Pullman. They're yet to come, and maybe some spring wheat coming up. But I wanted to talk to you about this Psalm 100. So in Psalm 100 we read, "It is He who made us, and we are His." You know, I find great relief in those words, and because if God made us, it means I didn't make myself, or I didn't figure it out, that something much greater than I made me, and that someone else is God, and that gives me great comfort here midweek. So I don't have to sustain myself by my limited abilities, but rather I lean on God. So we know that around Mudflat, general area, beautiful country. We had people last week that were up in Priest Lake, and somebody else at Williams Lake, and somebody else at home. And you know, it's a changing scene around here in eastern Washington. And sometimes when we kind of settle into our area, we feel like we're almost the masters of our little piece of the universe, especially in the greater Mudflat area, but we're not. The problem is we get tired. You and I get tired. We get a little bit worn out regarding things to come. We start carrying weights that are a little too much for us. We kind of start acting like the alignment of the whole universe is up to us. And well, thankfully, it's not. It's not up to us at all. And that's why the psalmist here interrupts us in the middle of this week. And in verse 3, he writes, "Know that the Lord is God." Know that the Lord is God. Now, note here, he doesn't say, feel it. I kind of think about it and know that the Lord is God. It's definitive. And that's important. The psalmists live with that sense of, I know that the Lord is God, and they live with that each and every day. I met a woman, Becky, in Prescott, my first church, and she wasn't a shepherd or a farmer, but she was one who really trusted in God in many, many ways. In fact, when I went back there for our church's 75th anniversary, when I arrived on the scene in Prescott in 1978, it was their 35th anniversary, or 30th, and when I left, it was their 40th, and then I went back for their 75th. Well, Becky was still there, and she's older than I am, and she's still a rock. Why is Becky a rock? She probably was the most firmly embedded Bible believer of anybody I've ever met, except for all you good folks at Mudflat, but I mean until now. But I thought about Becky because she always brought a sense of strength and love and commitment, and reminded me as a young pastor in those days, it doesn't depend on you, John. It's not on your shoulders, Pastor, but God made us. We are owned. We are tracked. So we're not the director of the universe. And by the way, that's very, very good news. So we come to this point here. The verse finishes with a beautiful picture of our identity. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Well, when we think about sheep for a minute, they aren't necessarily noted for their great intelligence, but the best thing regarding sheep is that if they have a good shepherd. So a good shepherd knows the sheep, directs the sheep, protects the sheep. If a sheep gets lost, he goes and leaves the 99 and comes back with the one. That's the job of the shepherd. Ultimately, I think that's why Jesus is often called our good shepherd, because we like sheep have gone astray, and who among us has not? But God is there with us. Jesus comes as our shepherd. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but back in the day, this would have been in the, this is pre-bike trip stuff. This was back in about 1970. First time I really got out of Ohio and went out to the Grand Tetons. And on the way back, I stopped at Snowy Range, which was a little bit north of Cheyenne. It's in that eastern part of Wyoming, but they have some mountains there. That night I slept over 10,000 feet, and I didn't see the sheep when I fell asleep, partly because I got there after dark, dumb me, but I was 20 years old, what's to worry about? But in the morning, up over the hill there, I saw what looked to me like millions, it wasn't, thousands, maybe at least hundreds of sheep. And I thought, oh my, where are they going to go? I've heard about sheep. But here was a shepherd with a few dogs, and they had those sheep totally under control, which allowed me just to look at the spectacle and know that those sheep were well taken care of because they had a shepherd who cared for them. And so here we are in the middle of the week. I know many of you watched our service from Sunday, and we're a little ways from this next Sunday. And as I said in the first one of these, it's midweek manna. Manna is what God gave the people, the Israelites, after they had escaped, or were freed rather, from Egypt, and they were in the desert, and God provided manna, which was sustenance, which was food that was there every day that they could not hoard just enough. Midweek manna. And who among us doesn't need a little midweek manna? So this is Mudflat here, and I'm glad to be back. I'm going to try to keep these midweek manna messages going on. I'm recording this myself, so it's not nearly as good as when Vince did it, but he's all the way over in the Philippines right now, so I'm doing the best I can. But he will put this together with the fancy little music at the beginning and the end to try to make it interesting. So whatever you're going through here in the middle of the week, remember there is manna, there is enough, and remember that God is with you and that the Lord God made you, and bring the 100th Psalm to life. So thank you. This is Mudflat with midweek manna from Mudflat, and we'll see you next week.
He's higher than a skyscraper, he's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And he's known me and he's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God.